Good evening, and we are live. And I'm live on Paranormal Path and Things Network. And I have a special guest tonight. Lynda, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Fantastic, thanks. I'm just so pleased to be speaking to you. And I
I
want to thank Wes Coleman for introducing us.
definitely thank you, Wes. You are the best of the best.
Yeah, total star, definitely.
Yeah,
Okay, we're just waiting for one or two to join us because Facebook can be slow at times.
that's true.
But yeah, I just want to thank you for joining us. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon where you are, and if anyone's watching in the US on Things Network, hi guys. Paranormal first start for you then.
Do you know what? Hold on, because you froze for a moment because this is technology. So I think you
Haha.
asked me a question about what happened
Well,
for yes.
yeah, where paranormal first started for you.
Well, I've been, as you know, in the paranormal field for 40 years. Can you believe that?
It's absolutely amazing. It's brilliant.
I can't believe that.
I'm loving that.
You know something? It was really different way back when, but I think my first foray into the paranormal was when I was about 4 years old. So I've had experiences since I was really little. But then when I was about 18, that's when I decided that I was going to go full on into the field. And it was word of mouth that really got me started because I was interested in it. And people came to me to ask me questions about experiences that they were having. And that just kind of snowballed from there. So 18 is when I really started into the field. So just add 40 to that, and then you'll know how old I am.
Bless you.
Cheers.
So, what you first encounter? How did you feel? I know you're really young, but can you
Well,
remember it?
I do remember it, as a matter of fact. I remember being put to sleep in the cottage. We had a summer cottage, and I was born and raised in Montreal, Quebec. And our family had a cottage in the Laurentians. And one of the rooms downstairs was where my little crib was. And then eventually that turned into a little cot that I slept in. And they would put me to sleep in that room. And I used to see faces coming in and out of my field of vision, but they weren't scary at all. They were very friendly. There were males and females, and their faces would come in, and they'd make little they knew that I was there, so they would make little faces at me, or they'd try and make me laugh. And it was very interesting because I explained to my mom and my dad that I saw these faces in this room, and some of the people were wearing what I called flat hats, bent hats. So
Okay.
they didn't understand what that meant until we watched a cartoon called Dudley Do Right, who is a Canadian Mountie. And I
Wow.
pointed at the TV and I said, he's wearing a hat like that. They're wearing hats like that. And they kind of went a little bit grim and looked at each other and then said, oh, well. And then as I got older, they told me when I was about 7 or 8 that the cottage that we owned was built by my grandfather, but it was built over an old Mountie station. So that made total sense.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
My gosh. It, so, did your family ever see anything themselves? Did they pick
Um,
up on things?
They would be a little intuitive. Both my mom and my dad were relatively creative. My father actually was an artist. He was also in theater, and he was also a broadcaster. But he was very, very creative. Yeah, and he had a really good intuition about most things. My mom, as well. My sister and I used to always say, "Oh my God, she's a witch. She knows everything." But But yeah, I think we were just a very creative family. So I think we were very open to different experiences. So I was really lucky because they never called me crazy, or they never said, "Oh no, you didn't see that," or "Oh no, you haven't seen a ghost," or "No, you're not experiencing those things. That's silly." Then they never did that, which I'm very grateful for. They really encouraged conversation about what I experienced, what I saw, what I felt. So, yeah, I would say that we all in our family are a little bit intuitive.
That's
But
brilliant.
yeah, we were never told don't talk about that, which I'm glad
That
about.
is great.
Yeah.
Could you mention it outside the family, or did
Um,
you keep that quiet?
yeah, we actually did. My godmother, actually, I was born and raised Roman Catholic, and my godmother, her name was Desi, and she was from Serbia. And we always called her the Serbian gypsy. She read tea leaves and tarot cards, and she was a
Wow.
really neat lady. So we could talk about this amongst family. But I found that when I got to kindergarten and we were out in the schoolyard, and I would talk about ghosts and seeing things, people would laugh and they would say, "Oh no, that's ridiculous. You're being silly. That's stupid. That's awful." And yet they would pull me over when nobody else was looking, and they'd say, "Okay, so I saw something too, and maybe you can help me because I think maybe I saw something." So yeah, it wasn't acceptable at school. It was acceptable in the family, in the
Yeah,
workplace sometimes,
yeah,
except when I was a Roman Catholic church secretary. I was told, "Do not say anything about your hobby because that wouldn't be acceptable."
yeah. It is a dodgy one to sort of mention, isn't it? Um, my colleagues who I work with, they know, and there's a person just started today, and I kind of mentioned, well, he started a few weeks ago, but I spoke to him probably today, and I kind of mentioned what I do, and he went, "Wow," you know. But generally, if you mention it, people do join in with their experiences, don't they?
They do. I find that they do as well. And I think they do because they realize they're not alone, that you're not going
Yeah.
to say to them, "Oh, well, that's crazy," or, "Well, have you been like, huh?"
It is quite crazy though, isn't it?
It's true.
What
It's true.
like I can have a conversation with somebody, and if I do paranormal, you can say it as it is. But if you said it to somebody else, you've got to kind of reword it sometimes.
Yeah,
So it's
that's
just
really
total mad.
true. It's really true. It depends who
Oh,
you
some of the
talk to.
stories I have, yeah. A quick shout out, and anyway, quick shout out to Gary Fields, Paranormal Nation Radio, Warren E. Jackson from Arizona, Louisa Brown, Hiya and Ben, Violet Morgan, Chantel Raidman, Carl Hodgson, how you doing? Jeremy York, he's the boss of the show. Yeah, things. Chantel again, thanks a lot. It's just great to see Jeremy. He's finally able to pop into some of the shows. He's been kind of having a break recently. Hi, Jolene. Hi, Nigel. Nigel from the North Pole, bless him. Shelley Smith, hiya. And here we go. This is the guy who's responsible. Yeah, we've been having a right chat, Wes, as you can imagine.
Wow.
Yeah, but
I think
thanks for,
we should get
yeah.
together for tea the next time either of us are in our neighborhoods, because I think it would be fun.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I just really want to meet Wes, and I'm sure we'll get there.
You
Yeah,
will.
so Jeremy had a much needed break. Oh, bless you. Thanks a lot, Jeremy. Oh, hiya, Alberta. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, so it's really interesting the start that you had. And from 18, you sort of carried on taking it further, didn't you?
I did. And at the very beginning, of course, it was nothing like it is now. I mean, when I
Oh,
was
no.
18, oh gosh, no. I mean, I just had a notebook and a pencil and an old camera with one of those flash cubes on the top. Remember
Oh,
those?
wow, I've got one of those, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And an old tape recorder where, you just flipped it. That was fun. And I used to bring interestingly enough, I used to bring my transistor radio with me every once in a while. And I found, this is before the invention of the spirit box. I used to put it between stations and sit there and listen. And I would actually capture voices because
Wow.
it was that white noise between the radio stations, the static. And every once in a while, I would capture voices. I would capture answers to questions. And recently, I was reading through some of my old notes because I'm a diary keeper from way back. And
Wow.
I read that I had done this and some of the stuff that had come through. And I thought, I should resurrect that and see, bring it with me, bring my little transistor radio with me on some investigations, because I mean, I think I was perhaps ahead of my time back then.
Yeah,
I
you
don't know.
certainly were, because that is one of the primary tools for a lot of people now, isn't it?
Exactly. So it was a
Wow.
lot different back then.
Yeah, but you had the kit. And actually that's kind of the best sort of kit to use, isn't it? Even now.
It is. And it's true. I mean, I'm sure you get a lot of questions asked about, what sort of equipment do you use, and all kinds of people have differing opinions on what you should use, what you shouldn't use, and why are you using that? But I've always said, even from the very beginning, that the best kit is always yourself. And
Yeah,
as you,
definitely.
right, and as you continue on in the field, and as the years go by, you really do develop a sense of knowing. You develop
Yes.
intuition when you walk into a particular location. You know immediately whether it's active or something weird is going on. So your best kid is yourself, hands down.
Yeah, I
Yes.
agree. I took up development lessons 7 years ago for a laugh. Okay. That's me, I can't help myself. Because I found that people were like looking down a tunnel at Draco or something, and more than one person saw a mist. And I thought, well, okay then, why can't I see it? And I always thought like spirit would have to throw a brick at me before I realised it was there. So I thought, right, I'll go to these lessons, but now I can actually communicate to some degree. And
Nice.
yeah,
Nice. I love
unbelievable.
this.
It
That's
really is, because yeah, I'm really astonished. So yeah, I do. I kind of use a bit of kit. Well, I take loads of kit and don't use it generally.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I have a really great team. And for the most part, we do use some equipment, but I find the best times are when we actually take time to sit and to listen and
Yes.
to trust ourselves, and trust our gut and our instincts. And I think we get the most information when, we hardly use any equipment.
Yeah, that's right. I just, that's what I want to do, is just sit there and
Exactly.
see if they get close to me. And sometimes it happens, and maybe I shouldn't do that. But hey,
It's all good. It's all good. Whatever
yeah,
works, I say.
it's very intriguing, isn't it?
It is.
So I think I've got a question here from Gary Fields then. So, when would you say has been the biggest inspirational investigation that blew your mind away with the interaction with spirit or evidence from spirits?
Wow.
Great
Well,
question, Gary.
that's a great question. Um, it's hard to pinpoint just one, but I do have to say that when I saw a full-bodied apparition, I think that
Oh
was
my gosh.
the biggest thing in my life. And
Yes.
I was also very astonished at my reaction because I'd always thought, I'm going to go, oh my God, there it is. Oh my God. But I didn't at all. I was actually with someone else at the time, and we were standing at the bottom of these stairs. And the person who was living in this home had experienced what she described as an elderly lady who was walking down the stairs all the time, and another spirit in the home that had grabbed her and thrown her against the wall. It was very upsetting. But
Wow.
we wanted to see if we would capture this old lady. So, of course, we set up everything. We had a video camera at the bottom of the stairs. We had a million things going on. We'd been there all night. It was about 5 o'clock in the morning. We thought, let's pack it all up. So there was myself and another girl, and we were just standing there, packed everything up. And then all of a sudden it got very cold. And we both looked, and there was this full-bodied apparition of
Oh
this
my God.
elderly lady coming down the stairs. And I immediately just, I stared. I didn't move. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I was, I think, in awe, because you never think you're going to see that.
No.
It was
Oh,
just
that's
as
fantastic.
plain, as clear as you or me. And this thing just walked down the stairs, but she didn't have feet. That was the weird part. She had no feet. And she walked right through the front door, which was closed. And we kind of looked at each other, and I said, "Don't tell me what you saw. What I want you to do is write down what you saw. I'll write down what I saw, and then we'll exchange notebooks, and then we'll see if we saw the same thing." And
Wow.
sure enough, we did. But I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I didn't go, "Oh my God." It was the
Oh,
most,
fantastic.
it was intense. It was very intense. And we could verify, obviously, that this was indeed happening. And sometimes that's really all that they want you to do.
Yeah, I found that. Yeah. I found the energy completely change. It was a public event. I reckon I saw somebody approaching in my mind's eye. I acknowledged him publicly, and then the energy just totally changed. It's like he'd been released, and it's just so beautiful.
It is, isn't it? And it's
Yeah.
so true. When you talk about the changing of energy, um,
Oh,
it's intense. Most people, I think, when they say, "Oh, I really want to go on an investigation," I don't really think that they want to see a ghost. I think what they want to do is to experience what it's like. And when you talk about the energy becoming static, or you talk about the energy changing, or you talk about the temperature changes, I think that's really what they want. Yeah, sure, they want to see a ghost, maybe, but I think that's the whole experience, is actually,
yeah.
the whole energy shift. I think that's so important, and a lot of people never get to experience that, and it's kind of magical when you do.
Oh, yeah, it is. I often find that if I do use a board, I don't use one frequently. Yeah. But yeah, sometimes, you can feel that something can change when somebody else appears. You just know, don't you?
You do. You
Um,
just do. And I think that comes with a few years of investigating.
oh,
Um,
definitely.
yeah, I don't think, well, and I have had some newbies on my team, and I don't think that immediately they're as aware of a shift. I think when you point it out to them, they'll say, "Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I noticed that." But eventually, the more that they experience it, the more that they realize when it's happening. Because I think at first, unless you're attuned to it, you probably would miss it.
I think I'm cutting out. Sorry about that.
That's
We've
okay.
got quite adverse weather in the UK at the moment. There's
Aw,
this storm like hanging around, so it's raining outside. So I don't know if that's going to cause trouble.
that's
A
okay.
quick hello then to Tamara, Andrew Powell. Hope everyone's okay. Katie Turner, Wild Bill, April Sarah. Thank you, everyone. Let's see if we've got any more questions. Yeah, Jolene's a brilliant medium. Says the best way to investigate his own senses. Carl, he went to Smithills Hall, amazing location in Bolton. He saw a shadow like it's watching, hidden behind a wooden beam. People running the ghost night has asked him to point it out. The same beam a child is seen described as peeping from it as well. But it's funny because I used to go to these events and I just saw flashing lights and that was it really. And I never got anything, but I got into museums at night. You know, when there weren't tourists there, or I got to some amazing places. I do photography, so got some nice photos of buildings inside and out. But yeah, a few flashing lights, but then once you get the bug, it's terrible, isn't it?
Oh, it's true. It's so true. So true. You miss it after a while if you don't go, do you?
Oh yeah, I get withdrawal symptoms. Oh, bless you, Wes. You're awesome as well. Thank you. Yeah, so that's a brilliant question. So on the gadgets, then we've briefly spoken about your original gadgets. What do you prefer now,
Um, I
apart from
do, you
your
know
own
what?
senses?
Oh, apart from my senses,
Yeah,
I do like the spirit box. At one point, we had, I think it's a PSB 11,
yeah,
and I like the SP7 better for some reason. I find that, I don't know, it just seems to me that I get more responses with the SP7. I do like the spirit box. I really like my digital recorder, though.
yes,
I really love my digital recorder and I love doing EVP work. Um, so really, I think I'm just attached to those two pieces of equipment.
that's great.
Yeah, I do like our EMF detector, but I mean, so many things can affect the
Yeah,
EMF in an environment. So it's really not as I guess exciting once you use it a lot.
yeah. You've
You
seen it
really,
happen a few times, but
yeah.
yeah,
But I love the digital recorder. I really do. I think EVP work is so fascinating.
it is. It's very rare I go to somewhere which is that quiet though, and
Yeah, it's
that's the
true.
problem.
It's true. You're right.
Due to, the location, like if you go sort of outdoors, you've got nature making a sound, and then indoors, you've got issues if depending where the building is located. And
That's
yeah,
really true. That is really
and
true.
people
People.
tell people to stand still. Mm,
It's true. We should tell them
they
all to
have
be
to
quiet.
shuffle.
It's true. We actually were, the team and I were investigating our local civic center at one point, and I was downstairs in the basement with a couple of team members, and two of my team were upstairs. I think they were maybe on the third or fourth floor, and they were wearing headphones, and they told me that, believe it or not, they heard me speaking. I was not speaking. We were quiet in the basement and they heard me speaking. And that was an interesting experience because that was the first time that I believe spirit of some kind was interceding and I guess making believe that it was me. And I thought that was pretty fascinating. So
Yeah.
that was interesting. But yeah, it was very strange because I kept saying, but I was very quiet. We weren't even talking.
Oh wow. Have
So it
you
was
had
okay.
something really, really bizarre happen then?
Um,
Which it must have.
really,
What's the most bizarre thing which has happened?
the most bizarre thing that has happened. Well, I mean, I've had things thrown at me, and I mean,
Wow,
that's not what I call bizarre as much as it's
it's
what I call
impressive.
scary. Yeah. Yeah, when I
Depending on
was
what it is.
oh, you know what? When I first started, I was like a little fledgling investigator. I had this huge crystal ashtray thrown at me. It picked up from a fireplace mantle and just literally aimed for my head
Oh
and
my
hit the
god.
wall in back of me because I had said something like, "Well, are you sure that your house is haunted? Are you sure you're experiencing
Oh no.
things moving?" Yeah. Well, it told me in no uncertain terms that yes, they were experiencing things moving.
Oh no.
That
That's
was very scary.
shocking. Excuse the sound effects. My dog's been there and he's snoring.
Aw, that's okay. That's all right.
So while Bill uses ramparts and cam video outside. Hi, thanks for joining us, Paranormal Crossroads. So happy to find
Oh,
more women in the paranormal.
hmm.
That's cool. Thank
Nice.
you.
I love that.
Um, a doppelganger. Ah.
You saw oh, you know what? That's interesting. I actually saw my father about 3 days before he passed. That was a strange thing. Um,
Wow.
yeah, it's very strange. I was in Sutton. Now, my father had cancer, and I knew that he was going in for surgery. And he and my mom were at the hospital having tests and pre-op, whatever,
Oh, bless
um,
you.
that day. And I was in a totally different town. I was in Sutton, Ontario, which is close, but they were in Newmarket, Ontario. And I knew that they were at the doctor's office. And I saw my father across the street for a brief moment. And there was a lot of traffic along
Oh
High
my
Street.
gosh.
And I looked and I saw my father and I thought, this is impossible. He's at the hospital having tests. And then I looked across the street to make sure that there was no traffic and he wasn't there. So that
Wow.
was a little strange.
My gosh.
And 3 days later, he passed. So
And that's some sort of warning. I don't know. Yeah.
I took that
Wow.
as a warning at the time. I didn't want to
Yeah.
admit it to myself, but I did
Well,
take it.
no. Oh, oh dear.
I know.
Bless you.
That was very crazy.
Quick hello to Jenny from Ireland. Thanks for watching. So I've got people from all over. Thanks so much, everyone. Um, so where's your favourite location where you tend to go quite frequently? Is there a location you go to frequently?
Um, we tend to like to stay very local. We have a lot of
Yeah.
really interesting haunted locations up here where we are. We're in Georgina, which is about an hour north of Toronto. We're
Right.
on Lake Simcoe, which is absolutely beautiful. So we
Gorgeous.
have a lot of locations here that we tend to revisit. We have St. George's Churchyard, which is really interesting. We have a lot of experiences there, and most people will say, "Oh, well, graveyards. Why would you want to hang around in a graveyard?" But we find that we get a lot of activity in graveyards.
Yeah.
Most likely guardian spirits, things like that, I think, ancestral spirits that pop in to say hello. We live in a very old area. Now, most of our team members live in either Willow Beach or in Keswick. I know you call it Keswick where you are,
That's it. Yeah.
but we call it Keswick so we can tell everybody we're from the Wick. But we do have we do have some favorite spots. So a lot of places. We have a school that's close to us as well that is very haunted. We've taken people on little miniature tours and walkabouts because when I started the Georgina Paranormal Society, I knew that it was important for people to experience a haunted location. Oh, and I see Katie Turner. Can't wait for you to come up to Buck Hill with us. I know. I can't wait either. But
Awesome.
I know I can't wait. But we have meetings and they're free paranormal meetings. We open them up to the public. We haven't been able to have them for 2 years
Oh,
now.
shocking. Yeah.
However, we like to take people to local, purportedly haunted locations so they can experience the atmosphere. They can walk around with us. They can see how some of the equipment that they may have seen on TV is used, because most people
Yeah,
don't
that's it.
believe, that this equipment even exists. um,
Yeah.
but I think it's really important that you go to some local places that people have heard about to immerse yourself in the atmosphere there and learn about the history of it and why maybe some of these
Yeah.
stories are here. So we have some pretty favorite locations, but most of them are local. We have been to Picton a couple of times. And thanks to Wes, we've been able to go with our teams. Katie Turner and her team came with us last time we went, as well as this girl, Crystal Pie, and her team, and they're close to us in Aurelia, Ontario. So we like going to places like that as well. Picton is interesting because it's a former military base
Wow.
and a hospital as well. So That's a cool place to go. I think
Yeah,
any place is a good
that ticks 2 boxes, doesn't it?
it does. But I think any
Military and
place
hospital.
yeah, but I think any place is a good place, and I think that
Yeah,
favorite locations, you know, you may think that you've done it to death, but you haven't because there's always something new. There's
it's
always
different layers, isn't there? Obviously, the land.
it's the land,
I
exactly.
was quite shocked because as a child, I've always been to a specific park. It's got a beautiful Elizabethan manor house, which was actually used in one of the Batman episodes, one of
Wow.
the films. And I've been there loads, and you think it's nice, nice family, but I picked up something really nasty from there.
Did
And you
you?
think, oh my gosh, you don't realise, yeah, it's how a family member was treated basically.
Oh my gosh.
And I'd just like somebody else to come out with the same information and validate it really,
Yes. Yes.
because it won't
Have you ever
it
had
won't be
anything
on public
follow you?
record at all,
Have you had
probably.
anything follow you home, my dear?
Yes. I have.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. And what happened? Did you manage to get it gone?
Yeah, yeah,
Good.
sometimes.
I know, right? I know.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
Well, it can be a little daunting, but some people don't understand how to get it gone. And that's where, that's where they call us. But
Yeah, I think it's realizing that you have it with you. Generally, I can feel really tired, and then you like a month down the road, you think I'm always tired, and I shouldn't be this tired.
right.
Then I kind of find that if I like meet somebody in a building, a spirit, and communicate with them, that's when they'll follow me home because I've
Yes.
noticed them, and not always good ones.
No, no. That's
But
okay.
have you? So, what's the worst one you've taken home then,
Um, we
or the
were,
best?
well, I actually did have not a bad one when I was a little bit younger. I had gone to a rest home. This is interesting. I was involved in the Girl Guides of Canada.
Wow.
And I was a brown owl, which meant that I had a bunch of little people that I had to keep amused once a week. And around Christmas time, we had taken them to a rest home, a care home for the elderly. And we piled into a school bus and we took them there and they made crafts and we sang Christmas carols and played the piano and had a really great time. And I guess I was about, I don't know, maybe 18 when I did that with this bunch of little girls. We had a really good time. Piled them back in the bus, came home, everybody went home. And then later that night, I felt a big hug. I was sitting in my bedroom listening to probably Elton John, because that's all I ever listened to at that age. And I felt this hug. And I just sat
Wow.
there and I thought, what am I experiencing? This is really interesting. And then I thought, all right, let me talk to the air like I normally do. And I said, well, I feel that there's someone here. So if somebody is here and you're hugging me, maybe you can tell me who you are. And if you don't want to do that, maybe you can come to me in my dream. I'm allowing you to come to me in my dream. I mean, how insane is that?
Wow.
But
Yeah, I
but
would.
you did, yeah, exactly, right? But she did that night come to me in
Oh
my
my
dream.
gosh.
And I wrote my dream down the next morning. It was as vivid as I can imagine. And she told
Beautiful.
me that she was there at the rest home in spirit. And she was so happy that I had brought all these great little girls there to do crafts and to sing Christmas carols, and that she visits people in the home as well. So she appears to them as well.
Wow.
Um, but that was her greatest memory, was living there with all these wonderful people. And she was so grateful that I had brought all of this young energy into the space, and she needed to hug me to say thank you. And I think that was the best that I'd ever brought home with me ever. And then
Wow,
she
that's
quietly
fantastic.
left. Yeah, she quietly left, never gave anyone any trouble. She didn't hang around. She didn't
Oh,
linger. I thought that was so sweet.
It is. Imagine how much energy she's used to sort of tell you this as well.
Exactly. That was so sweet. Some of the nasty ones weren't so great, but um, she was nice. And that's the thing I think people don't understand too, is that you can bring things home with you. And
Yeah.
you really should, if you're sensitive at all, be aware of the times that you might be bringing something into your environment.
Yeah. I did have a reading from a friend. It's called Barry John. He's kind of well known in the UK. And he said that I'd got somebody in the hallway upstairs, and I'd made contact with this young lad, and the one I mentioned, and he was so happy that he'd mentioned his story. He kind of followed me. He didn't know what to do. He's just standing there, apparently. But yeah,
Oh my goodness.
but that's cool, And I think I gave him attention, didn't I? And that was it.
Sometimes that's all they want. They just want you to
Yeah,
acknowledge them.
that's
So, and
right.
some of them are so lonely. There's a little girl that lives in the art gallery up in Sutton here, and she lives in the bathroom it's very strange. In the workshop area in the basement, they have two bathrooms, and in one bathroom, this is where she lives. And it's very interesting. We've all spoken with her in some way. Our teen clairvoyant has spoken with her. Her name is Emma, and she is very comfortable down there. She doesn't always stay in the bathroom. But again, she likes the energy that's brought into the space. She likes to watch the children when they come in to do their art programs. And I just think that that's incredible. She doesn't want to leave. She just wants to
That's
stay there.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so lovely. I've got a comment from Irene then. Her favourite place is Banff Springs Hotel. You've been there?
Oh my gosh, yes. As a matter of fact, I did an event at the Banff Springs Hotel years ago when I was with the Toronto Ghosts and Hauntings Research Society.
Wow,
So we're talking, what, 2003, maybe? That was a long time ago.
brilliant.
Oh my God. And it was the most haunted place. I went on a tour with one of I think he was oh gosh, what do they call them? A bellhop, I think. But
Yeah.
he had since retired, but he had great stories about all of that. A hidden room on one of the floors. But
Wow.
I'd gone there with a girl who is very clairvoyant, who was also part of the programming at the Banff Springs Hotel. And she and I were placed in different rooms on different floors, and we each had experiences there. I had a weird experience. Of course, they put me in one of the most active rooms because of who I was. But
Yeah.
it was so strange because I had a bedside lamp, and I had switched it on after I came back from dinner. I went into the bathroom, I had a bath, I did whatever I did. I came out and the light was off. So I thought, well, that's a little strange. There are no timers anywhere. So
Yeah.
we flicked it back on again. And I thought, well, I think I'll go downstairs and meet this other girl. We'll have a drink and then we'll come back and then I'll get ready for bed. Okay. So I left the lamp on, locked the door, put the do not disturb sign on the door. I thought, no, I'm not taking any chances here. I want to see if that lamp is off. And of course, I walked through the door and the lamp was off again. But the other weird thing was in the middle of the night, about 4 o'clock in the morning, I was sleeping, dead asleep, and the light switched on. So that was interesting. I thought, okay, that's enough. I can't take this
Yeah.
anymore.
Stop playing.
No, don't play with the lights.
um,
But it was definitely a very strange place, very, very haunted. The ballroom, very, very haunted. But most of the locations there have an atmosphere that's either very, very heavy, so you know that there's a lot going on, um,
yeah.
or it's just very light and airy, almost as if there are children running up and down the hallway. It's
Oh
um,
wow.
it's a neat place. It's absolutely beautiful. It's beautiful.
I need to do some visiting when we can. Uh,
Definitely.
when we can. So while Bill, um, he's in Savannah, Georgia, which is the city of the dead. Have you been there?
I've never been there. I'd love to go there. There's so many places that I'd love to visit, but
Oh gosh, yeah, totally. Like even around me, like you can't get everywhere, can you?
no, but I
So
wish
we've
I
got
could.
Fort Edmonton Heritage Park.
Wow. I've never been to Edmonton. I've been to Calgary, but never been to Edmonton. And it's strange because I actually have relatives in Edmonton.
Oh wow, okay,
Do. Oh, wow.
that's cool.
Unfamiliar with any haunted locations. There is a book. There's a few books called Haunted Canada, and I know that there is a great book by a man called John Robert Colombo, and he is a Canadian. He has written numerous books on haunted locations in Canada. So if you really want to read some fabulous books about haunted locations, that's one to read for sure. Anything by John Robert Colombo. I'm
Wow.
sure you'll learn so many things.
Oh, sounds fantastic.
Yes.
It, yeah, you don't kind of hear much about haunted locations other than the major ones, do you? Like with the US, like certain ones which keep getting mentioned, but you don't know of like regional places.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh well, power goes out. Housekeeping has plenty of good paranormal activities in the room. Elevator in the dining room as well.
Wow.
So that's cool.
There are some really neat stories about haunted hotels and motels, and there is a TV show now called Hotel Paranormal. I don't know if you've seen it,
Yeah.
um, but that's interesting too because it does open up your mind to those possibilities. And I have to say, every time I go to a hotel, I always think, who slept in this bed? Who's
Yeah.
who showered in this stall? I had a really weird experience at a motel in Fort Erie, Ontario. And I was there to witness a wedding and came back from the hospitality suite to my own room. My husband was dead asleep because he's an early sleeper. And it was very interesting. I was in the washroom getting ready. The lights were out. And all of a sudden, where the shower stall was in the bathtub, there was this very bright light. I mean, it was unbelievable. It just
Wow.
flashed really, really brightly. And of course, the paranormal investigator in me kind of looked at it and said, "Can you do that again?"
Yeah. Always
And
greedy.
on command, boom, it did it again.
Wow, that's brilliant.
That was crazy. So I thought, well,
Yeah, it's very rare that to see energy, let alone it. Wow,
that was
that's
neat. So
yeah,
hotels
definitely.
are really, really haunted, and I would love to experience more in a hotel. I think that would be really interesting.
Yeah, you can just feel the energy of like the hallways, can't you? The
You can
corridors and everything. Yeah, you
absolutely,
just feel like the hustle and the bustle of what it used to be and things like that. Like people
exactly.
rushing around. So Gary Fields got a question then. What place or location is on your bucket list to do?
Oh my gosh. I mean, my bucket list is so big. I think I need to write it down on a roll of toilet paper because
I'm
it's
like that as well. I keep going, I want to go there, I want to go there, and like,
right. I
I
know.
forgot.
Me too. Me too. I mean, any locations really that I've seen or heard about or read about that are particularly active are all on my bucket list. I mean, there's so many of them. I'd love to make it to the UK because there's so many there. I'd love to go to, what is it, Lemp Mansion or Lemp Castle? That's one place I'd like to go to. Um,
Right.
I would love to go to Greyfriars.
Oh
That would
gosh,
be
yeah.
interesting. That'd be so
Yeah,
interesting.
definitely.
I'm dying to go to New Orleans. That's, I think, number one on my
Oh
bucket.
yeah, I nearly went. Sage were doing one there, and I nearly. Oh gosh, I was looking into it. I thought, oh, I don't know. And yeah, I would.
I'd
I would
love to
just so
go.
love to do that one. Yeah.
Me too. Well, that's it. We're going to have to just meet in New Orleans then.
Oh gosh, be fantastic, wouldn't
That
it?
could be fun. That could be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I've saved up a bit because I haven't been able to go out, so I
Right?
think a holiday should be on the cards
I think
when
so.
we can get.
I think so. But I'd love to go to those small little locations that you were mentioning before that you never really hear about, that are
Yeah,
all local, that are probably even more active than some of the larger locations. I think it would
yeah,
be really interesting to just meet some local paranormal teams, just take a couple of years and then just
yeah,
go through a bunch of small paranormal teams and just say, take me to your favorite places. I would love that. I
yes,
think even better than going to a major location, just to sit down with these people and talk to them about some of the things they've experienced and all of the local locations would be so gratifying. I would love that.
yeah. I did go up to Scotland in September for 2 weeks. Just me, the dog, and the tent.
Nice.
And I actually met up with the girl who usually co-presents, but she couldn't make tonight, which is a
Oh,
shame. And I also met her team, which she's now joined, and another team, Robbie. And yeah, I met quite a few people up there, and we investigated places around Ayrshire.
nice. Nice.
And it's just fantastic to go to a castle.
Oh,
Just in the middle of nowhere. You don't have to pay to get in. It's all kind of in ruins and accessible. It's
oh,
brilliant.
I would love
And
that. See, up in Canada, we don't really have, many of those.
yeah, I don't where I am because I'm right near two cities. So it's like a lot of built up area. Castles are generally like owned by a national trust or something like that. So you have to pay to get in.
That's
So
true.
there's not
That's
that
true.
many places that you can like wander around. You
No,
know.
no.
But yeah, I took my dog as well, and he experienced something, so that was great.
Nice.
Yes,
I'd
yeah,
like that. You should go with
yeah.
me.
He's experienced three things now. He
Really?
growls at them. Yeah, he growls.
Really?
Yeah,
I wish I could
brilliant.
see him.
Oh. No,
No, he's snoring.
too
He doesn't want to
bouncy.
see. Doesn't want to see us.
Everything will go flying. Yeah, I'm happy with him sleeping as long as he doesn't snore too loudly. It's fine.
Well, that's okay. That's all right. Snoring is
Oh,
acceptable.
bless him. Yeah. Have you been to the Queen Mary?
I haven't been to the Queen Mary, but that I would think I'd like to put that on my bucket list. Oh, and Trans Allegheny Lunatic Asylum for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That would be crazy.
I'm going to
Crazy.
look into that one. I've not even heard of that one.
That is crazy. I've
Wow.
actually seen pictures of that. And that looks really scary. I mean, when I had mentioned that we go to Picton, that is kind of crazy as well because it's very derelict and it's
Yeah.
very, it's kind of dirty and derelict. They use it as a paintball location, but it kind of
Okay.
adds, yeah, it kind of adds to that, je ne sais quoi. It adds to that experience. But yeah, okay, we're at Calgary is where I'd like to go. Oh, really? Calgary is a beautiful town, I have to say. And when I went to the Banff Springs Hotel, we actually flew into Calgary and
Okay.
then went up to Banff. But Calgary is an interesting town. They have a big stampede there. And I have heard stories about ghosts at the stampede, which I've thought was kind of interesting too. That's where all the horses are, and
Wow.
that's where they do all the wrangling and all of that. That would be an interesting place to go and kind of, walk around and experience perhaps some paranormal activity.
Yeah. Yeah, you just don't know where you'll pick things up. Like, I keep posting things on my page where there's like archaeological finds in fields, under houses. You never know what to expect. I
No,
think the strangest location I went to was just a village school, and we picked up this really strong, powerful druid.
ouch.
Oh my, oh dear, he made us all ill for a few days.
Oh no,
It
that's not
was
good.
shocking. It was that powerful. You
That's
think, oh yeah, school, children playing. So we tried to go back again, which we did, but it wasn't. It was different. There's a couple of newbies, so the energy was different.
really.
But I certainly want to go back there again. I need to sort that one out.
And it was a powerful druid.
We think so, yeah. And oh my gosh, it's crazy. He
Wow,
just was trying to take all the men out. My friend, he had to go outside, and we had problems bringing him around for a bit.
that's incredible.
Yeah, because okay, people get overshadowed. It happens.
It does. That's true.
We're used to that, and we deal with it. But this particular time, oh, it was just so powerful.
Wow, that's
He must
crazy.
have been waiting for us.
Yeah,
So it's the first
exactly.
time it had been investigated. So yeah, we go in, oh, lovely school, and like boom, it's how it was. The land was used previously.
That's the thing. You always have to
Yeah,
pay attention to the land because
yeah,
we have a lot of building up here. And a few years ago, we got this really strange phone call from this person who had little fires being built in the middle of their living room, which I thought was kind of
okay,
crazy.
yeah,
And it turns out that it certainly wasn't the builder. This couple who had bought this house in this brand new subdivision, they had all the locks changed when they moved in. They were a professional couple. They
right,
had no animals, they had no children. So they would get up early in the morning, they would leave and go to work, and they would come home to this little smoldering fire in the middle of their living room made with what looked like sawdust, things that they had found in their basement that the builders had kind of swept into the corners. So of course they went around with one of those shop vac machines and got all of that stuff sucked up so that this wouldn't happen again. And once again, a little fire built in the middle of their living room. They set up a camera. They pointed it right to where the activity was always taking place. And the camera just kind of went thunk. So didn't film anything. It moved. It filmed the whole ceiling, and they came back to another fire. It was ridiculous. But then, because we have a lot of native energy up here, we have
yeah,
the Chippewas of Georgina Island. So we do have a lot of indigenous energy
wow,
and all of that. And it was very interesting. What was determined was that the elementals were not happy
oh,
because
okay,
yeah, because those houses, of course, were built on their land. It was their land. And it was very interesting once they were acknowledged, once they were appeased. A shaman had come in to do a ceremony and to bless the land.
wow,
And they were told to leave some tobacco out in their backyard, to plant a small tree, to do certain things to appease
yeah,
the elementals. Once that
oh my
was
gosh,
done, everything was fine. But the shaman said, "This is not the last time that this will happen."
oh way, oh dear,
Yeah. So we're waiting for more reports from that particular subdivision because we have
oh
a
my gosh,
feeling they're extending it and they're doing some more building. So you never know what spirits you're going to come across, and it's usually whatever is on the land. And if there
yeah,
wasn't anything on the land, you know that the elementals have been there since the beginning of time. So that's something to consider too.
oh wow. Yeah, I was going to ask you about elementals because that was the clip I actually posted from the TV show you're on, where you actually mentioned, well, it's on YouTube, about a minute clip about elementals.
Right.
And I never actually believed in them. And then I go somewhere where there are some. And
Absolutely.
all the time, okay, there's one time we sort of, we're doing a seance and our stomachs were rumbling. But in the end, it seemed like they were communicating with our stomachs because they were making similar sounds as well.
That's fascinating.
Uh, it's mad, isn't it? But
But you know what? It might be mad, but at the same time, I've
it's
found
lovely.
but I've found that working in this field and dealing with some of the things that I've been dealing with for all these years, nothing is really as mad as it seems. Perhaps at the
No,
beginning, right? And then once you realize what you're being told, or what you're
yeah,
experiencing is something that you need to pay attention to. I'll tell you something really interesting. One of our clients recently had an incident happen in her home, and it was fascinating because there had been a death a few years ago of an ex, and it was really fascinating because the anniversary of the death was coming up, and there was a little bottle of honey on a shelf in the kitchen. And this woman was nowhere near the bottle of honey, and it kind of flew off the shelf and landed in the middle of the room. And she said, why? She said, now, Lynda, why? Why would this
Yeah.
be happening? And I said, well, is an anniversary of a death coming up? And so she said, yes. And I said, well, did he ever call you honey?
Oh my
And she
gosh, yeah.
said, well, every time he would walk through the door, he'd say, honey, I'm home. And then the
Ah,
realization was, wait a minute, he's home. He's visiting
yeah.
you. So nothing is as crazy as we think it is. There's always
Well,
an
yeah, that's right. It's a method of communication. I did go to near Whitby, and I actually met some other paranormal people and went to a castle there. And something was walking on the grass in front of me, because you know how the grass goes down and springs back?
yes.
It was doing that.
Wow.
And I've never seen that before, but it can happen anywhere, can't it?
It
And
can.
you
It
just,
can.
people just need to open their eyes sometimes.
I think that's true. I think that's it. And people really do need to understand that, there really are no coincidences and things do happen for a reason. And if
Yes.
we really pay attention to our world around us, that um, things do happen. And your
Yeah.
life is so much more powerful, I think, if you realize that. It's so much more interesting and powerful. Um, but so many people are just, they're walking around with blinkers.
Oh, definitely.
And
Yeah.
fear, if you have fear, I think that's the biggest detriment, because fear blocks so many incredible experiences. If you're not as fearful, you can open up to those experiences and really gain a lot of insight from them.
Wow. Yeah. Beautiful words.
Well, thank
So
you.
true.
It is
That's
true.
lovely.
It is
Yeah.
true.
It is true. Yeah. People are just too busy rushing around, aren't they? And I
They really
think
are.
the lockdown did make people appreciate what's around them more.
That's true. That's
You know,
true.
they did notice the sky, like they did notice birds, flowers, things like that. When usually they're just like rushing around doing the day to day all the time.
It's absolutely true. So true.
I'm just trying to see if there's any comments. Oh, here we go. Ireland. So many haunted locations and castles,
Oh,
including Lep Castle, which is, wow.
I'm dying to go there.
Yeah.
Once we can travel again without any worry, I will
Oh,
be on a plane. I'll be going to all of these places, and I would love to connect with so many people and see so many interesting things and experience so many interesting things. I think that's what life is all about. And
yeah, definitely.
yeah, and I think as a
Yeah, I try and plan my holidays now around meeting people. Um,
absolutely.
I'm going to Pendle Hill next year, so I actually did a day trip there on Monday. I went and I saw the witch's shop and I went round the graveyard.
That's right. I saw the
I
video.
wasn't there long, but I've seen it, and I'm going back next June. Yeah,
Oh
with a
my
group
gosh.
of us. So
That was where somebody said, "Get out of the rain, you crazy lady. You
yeah,
need to get
that's
out
the
of the
one.
rain."
Yeah, you did see that one. Yeah,
I did see
yeah.
that
It was
one.
just I'll just go somewhere. I'll walk around. You know, I'm not even going to try paranormal. I haven't got time.
No,
You know, but it's nice for people just to say, "Ah, this is the churchyard where that family grave is,"
exactly.
and you know, it just gives them an idea of what something looks like. And I do tend to do quite a lot of walk rounds, and I don't capture evidence because I'm too busy experiencing things.
That's okay.
I and yeah, and it's just well, just amazing, isn't it? What you can experience.
It is. It
So
is.
Wild Bill, he meets up with different teams, goes as a guest and helps them with whatever he can. It's fun to meet and make new friends. They're as crazy as Wild Bill. I know Wild Bill because he used to do a show on the old channel I was on, Haunted Antiques one, and yeah,
I love
um,
that. He sounds like so
yeah.
much fun.
Oh yeah, he's brilliant. Yeah, he's ordained as well. Wild Bill is.
Casa
But oh
Loma. Oh
wow,
my
he's
goodness.
absolutely
Casa Loma.
fantastic. So
That's
there you go then, Cataloma.
Casa Loma. That's a fun place. I think the better place is Spadina House, which is right next door, Wes. You have to go to Spadina House. A lot more activity there. Just saying.
Oh. We've got Alberta then. Dogs and cats are very sensitive to spirit, which yeah, sort of. I'm running back on the comments a bit because
That's
oh
okay.
wow, Irene's now in Japan. She's got the suicide waterfall in the forest, which
Wow.
oh gosh, that must be so hard to go there.
That must be. I've read about that place and I can't even imagine. Imagine
Oh
the
no,
atmosphere in a place like that.
the energy. I think you've frozen a bit. You're back.
That's okay. I
Hello.
might be back. Welcome to the internet.
Oh yeah, it's great, isn't it? I
Yeah.
walked under a bridge. There's a massive bridge in the UK near Hull, and I just walked under it, and all of a sudden I felt shocking, and then I realised, yeah, sort of what it was used for, and it's like, oh no.
Oh,
Have you still got time to talk? Is that okay?
sure.
Yeah, that's cool.
Absolutely.
In the field, who would you say has been special to meet in real life?
Oh my goodness. There's so many
It's a hard
special
one.
people. Oh my goodness. Hard to say. Although it was a real treat to meet Michelle DeRoche. I don't know if you know Michelle. She's very famous in Canada.
Wow,
Um,
brilliant.
so many people. I mean, it was a treat to meet Wes.
Yeah, a
It
bird
sounds,
started.
I was going to say, it sounds like a birdie.
Yeah, my cockatiel
Oh,
decided to
yeah.
start shouting.
Excited.
Yeah, he's happy.
Oh my
So
goodness.
the dogs let us know when the guy from the past houses is in the area.
Wow.
See, dogs are okay. They're brilliant, aren't they? Let's see. Oh,
I love
okay.
the
Irene, you have to
beach.
visit in Japan. No hotel room. The house is open. Japan Irene used to live in an old apartment block, and it had so much activity there,
Wow.
and it was like really like oppressive as well.
Really?
Yeah, it was shocking, and yeah, she's looking. It's good she's moved out of there to be fair. But yeah. Um.
Wow.
So, what are your future plans then?
Huge plans. Well, we're actually doing a walkthrough of an active location locally this evening. So that's going to be interesting. Hmm.
Exciting.
Exciting,
Yeah.
exciting, exciting. But really, my future plans are to continue to do whatever I'm called to do.
Yeah.
I have a really great team now. Took a little while, to kind of assemble the right
Yeah.
people because you all have to mesh together. You all have to work well together.
Definitely.
You have to have the same goals. It's a really important thing. Um, so really, that's really what I'm looking forward to is just continuing to do what we all do. And I really want to get back to doing our public meetings because I find it's really important to assemble like-minded people in a
Yeah.
particular location so that we can all share experiences. And I think that's part of, that whole mandate, I think, as a paranormal person to talk about things, to hash things out, to do some research, to put that common denominator of experience together, because I think it's really important that people know that they're not alone. So going forward, that's really what I'm doing. I just want to keep going, meet people like you.
Oh, cheers. It sounds brilliant what you do. I was in a team. Yeah, okay. Things happen. Trust. You move on.
Yeah,
And I'm kind of on my own, but I just go around meeting people, and it's absolutely awesome. Just combination of different energies. You're all in it for the people I meet are in it for the same reason.
that's right. That's
And I
right.
just don't associate with people I just don't respect. So there you go.
Paranormal invest, you
Are
look
there
up
any
to.
paranormal investigators that you look up to in the field? Someone who has influenced you over the years, Wes?
Well, I really like the old guys, like people like Hans Holzer and people like Wes Coleman, and um, really, I really still read all the old people. I mean, I really love, oh my gosh, Lloyd Auerbach, and I've read so much about him and what he has done in the past. But yeah, you know what? I discover so many every day, so many different paranormal investigators and what they do. I really do like the chemistry between, oh gosh, Amy Bruni and her partner. I like that. Some of their techniques are kind of interesting. I don't know. I think I follow all kinds of different people, but really, Wes, I like the old guys. I mean, I really like Hans Holzer and what he used to do, and bringing mediums with him on investigations was always interesting because it adds that
Yeah.
little element to the investigation, which I think is important. I'm so glad that I've got so many people on the team that are clairvoyant and
Yeah.
clairaudient, and that adds that extra something.
It does, because that's where I okay, like I've gone past the stage where a flashing light, something's around. And to actually manage to communicate and get images through it, oh wow. It really adds to it. And then if you do get the validation with the flashing light, that's cool,
Right.
or another method. But yeah, because okay, we know that something else exists, you
That's right.
know, we, but to find out who it is, it's like, oh, it's fantastic, isn't
It's
it?
golden, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just so beautiful. Oh,
It
so
is.
emotional as well. I've got a question here then from Jax Wilson. Putting you on the spot, sorry about this. My partner stayed in a house. He came home from work one day, and under the covers was a small puddle of water, but the duvet was dry. Happened 3 times. He had to sell the house out of fear. Any paranormal explanation for it?
Wow, but the duvet was dry.
As long as your partner was the only person in the house,
Right,
that's the
right.
basic one. But apart from that,
That's
interesting.
very interesting. That's a difficult one because, we always try, as you know,
Yeah,
to explain things logically before we ever go the paranormal route. So, I mean, I would say, okay, was there a cat?
yeah,
Was there a dog?
definitely.
Your mind always goes there. Um,
Yeah,
but I mean, there are elemental spirits out there that do manifest as what they are. For example, if it's an elemental spirit of water, it can manifest as water. If it's an elemental spirit of the air, it can manifest as mist or smoke or things like that. So, was there an elemental spirit in the home? Were there any water problems in the home other than that? Did
yeah,
you have floods in the house? Was your toilet constantly running? Was your water being turned off and on? Were there
yeah.
other things in the house that might connect that sort of element of water to an elemental? I mean, that could be a possible paranormal explanation for it. So
It is like your fire story, though, isn't it?
that's pretty great. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, because the fire in the house, and
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. So that's kind of interesting. That's
very,
fascinating.
yeah.
That's
As long as you rule out the obvious, then
that's right.
wow.
That's right.
Yeah.
The obvious would be your cat has a problem with the litter box and likes to piddle under the duvet.
But also, it'd be a different colour. Sorry.
Yes, that's right. That's right. We did have a case, though, where this particular case was interesting because this person would sit on her bed sometimes and she would have water dripped on her. And there was nothing wrong with the roof. There was nothing wrong with the ceiling. There was nothing wrong with anything. But the particular spirit wanted to manifest as water. And the reason was given that because it felt more comfortable manifesting as water, number one. And number two, it knew that it would perhaps startle her, but it wouldn't frighten her as much as maybe, a full-bodied apparition or a scratch or a push or something like that. But it would gain attention. And that was the way that it would gain attention. So, I mean, it could very well be that it was a spirit in that particular apartment and it wanted the attention and it manifested in that way. I mean, it could very well be. You never know.
It could be a warning, couldn't it? Or it could actually be an anniversary of something.
Exactly.
As well.
Especially water. Water is energy, but it's also emotion. I mean, when you talk about water, you talk about crying, you talk about the well of emotion. You talk about, I was over brimming, cascading with a waterfall of emotion. So, I mean, water is an emotional thing as well. So it could mean emotion. You don't know.
Yeah,
right?
just because something happens doesn't necessarily mean it's bad.
No.
You could just get your loved ones trying to communicate with you. And it's just a lack of not understanding. Oh, yeah, that's it. I think, like, before I did paranormal, if something happened, I'd be scared. But now, you can't. To me, it's like, used to it. Things happening, but
true. But I think a lot of people, and this is, I mean, I think any paranormal investigator would agree, their minds skip to, oh my God, it's got to be something horrible, or it's a demon, or it's something scary. And the only reason that it is normally is because it's out of the ordinary. It's something that they don't experience every day. So when they watch too many of those shows or they read too many of those books, they might say immediately, oh my God, well, it's dark. It's terrible. It's malevolent. But it probably isn't dark or malevolent. It's probably just trying to get your attention. It's probably maybe even somebody. I mean, honestly, you can't really blame them, though, for going there, because that's where everybody goes. I mean, you watch some of those shows and immediately it's a demon.
Yeah. It's very rare that I watch TV shows. Admittedly, most haunted to get me into.
Yes.
It actually made me realise that I could actually go out and hunt for ghosts. All right.
Right.
But yeah.
Most haunted. That was fun. That was one of the first ones, I think, that I ever watched was Most Haunted. I always thought, oh my gosh, I always thought that was the funniest thing because of all the screaming that went on.
Yeah, you see, like the first episode, the first series was all about orbs. So, we was fascinated, like, wow, they're capturing ghosts everywhere, but obviously now dust, light anomalies, and there's a massive difference between what you pick up with a camera and a flash to a spirit light. And that example you had where you saw that spirit light and said, do it again, and like, wow. Most impressive spirit light I've seen was actually glitter above a Ouija board.
Really?
So it's an event and not much was happening. And I looked at this board and it had glitter. It was so beautiful. And it's just like hovering and all sparkly, all different colours above the board. And I thought, what am I seeing? So I closed my eyes, and I'm still seeing it. It's like, oh, beautiful. So I sort of saw the energy above it and never seen it again. But I did mention it on another podcast, and someone said, "Yeah, they've seen something similar." It's like,
Wow.
yeah, it's
Wow.
just beautiful. But you just, oh my gosh, if you do see something, it's great, isn't it?
It is great. It is truly great. It is.
Yeah.
Oh.
Have you really been scared about something?
Um, when I was really little, I was, I think.
Yeah.
My sister and her friend used to have these little seances every once in a while because they'd like to stir the pot. And I was always uncomfortable with that. I mean, there's something
Yeah.
intrinsically icky about that inside,
Yeah.
probably because of the experiences that I had. So I knew that, we really shouldn't be playing with any of this. This is wrong to be doing that. But we did have something happen, and it was a clear indication that whatever it was, wanted to let them know that they were really dumb little kids who shouldn't be playing with it. And they did something crazy and said, well, if there's a spirit here, show us some sign of your presence. And the window slammed shut in the bedroom.
Ah.
And that scared me. And I ran down the stairs and I said, you see, you shouldn't be doing any of this stuff.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I was a little afraid recently. We had gone to do an investigation at night in a churchyard, and it had a cemetery, right next to the church and the rectory and
Yeah.
all of that. And this investigator friend of mine had a strange experience there previously. So we did an investigation there at night to see what we could pick up. And I think collectively, and there were quite a few of us there, we all sort of gathered at one point that evening and said, okay, this is what I've caught on my camera, or this is what I've experienced. And then there was this, I'll just call it a collective lull in the atmosphere. And we all looked at each other, and I voiced what everybody was thinking. I said, you know what? It's time to leave. I feel uncomfortable. And
Yeah.
everybody said, yes, time to go. And I think it wasn't necessarily fear, but it was discomfort, almost as if we didn't leave at that moment in time, that
Yeah.
something was going to happen, which was probably going to be unpleasant, but I didn't know what.
Yeah. I've left places because somebody's like, we've got to get out now.
Yes.
Like my friend heard this like cat sound and he was like running and I was going, where? I've heard it, I'm off, and he does paranormal a lot, but this like yeah.
Yeah,
But it could have been a real one as well, so but I'm fine.
absolutely.
A
You never
wildcat
know.
because but you don't know, do you?
No, you really.
Irene says don't invite unwanted spirits in your domain. That's the biggest rule. And it is kind of tempting during lockdown to see what's around, but I know my family here. Yeah, so sometimes
Uh,
talk to them.
A lot of people too during lockdown, they noticed things that they didn't notice
That's
before
right.
because either they weren't home or they really weren't paying attention. But being home for such an extended period of time, people did start to notice weird things in their environment. And I'm not the first person that's mentioned that we were way busier, I think, during
Yeah,
lockdown.
that's right. That's what I've heard as well. Yeah, because people are all of a sudden noticing things. But if you think that people are away from the house all day, and if you're kind of getting in the way of the spirit,
That's right.
you know, they're used to having a break, aren't they? And no sound. If that's how they pick things up. Like we
It's
don't
true.
quite know
It's true.
how things work,
It's
but
true.
yeah.
It's almost them saying, why are you home at 3 p.m? This is when I'm here and I watch my soap opera and play with the cat. So what are you doing
Yeah.
here?
Yeah, torment the cat in peace.
Yeah,
Yeah, oh
exactly.
my gosh. Yeah, you just don't know, do you? Like
No,
my other dog, he kept saying I used to go out on investigations. He'd see what I brought home with me. didn't like it.
No.
No, he'd just sit there staring like at one door or a spot here, there, or something. But yeah. Irene says like some cemeteries don't like the living in their space. They don't want you walking around the space, and yeah, that's right.
Absolutely.
I did go in the around the churchyard of Pendle, the one where the Nutter family remains are. I don't know if that lady's remains are there, but the family one is right near the church,
Right.
and it did feel so calm and yeah, it it felt really nice in there. The energy was so calm and still. But you kind of think, well, you just putting that suggestion in your head. You
True.
know, sometimes you sometimes question things, but yeah, it just felt such a beautiful place, and all the gravestones. Well, a lot of the gravestones were like they've got the grave, and then they're like resting on, and I don't get what that's about. I need to check that out.
That's interesting.
So it's like some stone there, some there, and they're just like a table on top.
That's
So
strange.
I need to check that. Yeah, I've got photo. Yeah, I think I've got photos of it, and it's like, wow, because I haven't seen it in any of the graveyards.
Right.
And also with the witches as well, they sometimes put cages over them, and they hadn't there. And with it being a witch trial, I don't know. I was expecting to see some of those cages.
Yeah. That's
But
terrifying, isn't it?
yeah, I know. Put a cage so they don't escape, don't they?
No, that's right. Are you going to go back?
Oh yeah, I'm going back in June.
Perfect.
There's a few people, and we're meeting Simon Entwistle as well. He's the guy who does tours around Pendle Hill and that
Nice.
area. So, oh my gosh, it's going to be brilliant.
You'll have to go.
Yeah.
Yes, you'll have to go back, and you'll have to film it and put it on so that we can all see it.
Oh, definitely. I've always got my phone. I take
Definitely.
photos of everything and yeah, film everything if I can. Yeah, I never sort of say when I'm going live. I just do it and like there I am. There I am. I just
Exactly.
pop up here.
That's
But
right.
yeah,
That sounds right.
it's to give people an insight. But I want to thank you so much. It's been fantastic. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Me too. It's truly like we're sitting in each other's living rooms.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like some conversation, you sort of having this conversation that, like, oh no, did I say that?
It's true.
But
It's true. Think, oh, wait a second. We're on Facebook Live or we're on YouTube or whatever. And it's like, oh,
yeah,
maybe I
we're on YouTube
shouldn't
as
have said
well.
that.
But
Thank you so
yeah,
much for having me.
oh no, oh, it's just been so wonderful to talk to you. It really has.
Same.
And I
Thank
hope we
you.
can sort of meet up sometime. You know, if I come to Canada, or whatever. And like, I definitely want to meet Wes. And oh my gosh, when we get
Definitely.
freedom, it just seems so far away now because it's
I know it does. But
going
one
round
day,
in circles again. Hey,
one day it'll happen.
yeah, definitely. And well, we sort of can't go out, must get saving, so I can do these trips. Definitely. But thanks, Wild Bill. Thanks for the comment. Oh, okay, Irene. The caged because they didn't want the witches escaping from the grave. They used to think they were undead.
There you go.
So thanks, Irene. April, thank you. Andrew, thank you very much. Thank you, Jeanette. I want to thank everyone for watching as well.
Yes.
So thanks everyone, and thank you so much, Lynda.
Thank you. You take
And
care.
stay safe and have a great night tonight.
Will do. Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yes. Brilliant. All right then. Thanks everyone. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing. And next week, same time, I've got a special Christmas party with a few friends. All paranormal, of course. Thank you and goodbye.